Hello, good evening. Chris Hughes from Rebound on UpStreamedia's live YouTube and Facebook show. Today's a bit of a twist. It's going to be the Lynch Trophy preview and the NBL D1 men's. First off, I've got Joe Bielak and we're awaiting Kanu Goodster to join us. But while we're here, welcome, Joe. Hope you're well. How's your week been?
I've not been too bad. How have you been?
Not great, as I say off air. I've caught some sort of lurg or burn. I think it's a chest infection, but I'll have my COVID swab tomorrow, so fingers crossed all clear. But just got to be safe
Yeah.
rather than sorry, especially for work I do. Um, Obviously, you guys have not had to play a competitive game yet, and obviously this weekend you face Charm with the next team. What are your thoughts heading into that game?
Going into this game, um, you know, I'm just thinking we got to work on our stuff, get prepared for all the games coming up this year. Just got to get our sets right, get our flow of the game right as a team, and really just nail all the loose things that are we need to work on at the moment.
Of course, and it's a familiar team. You spent 3 years before going off to America. What are some of the things you're looking forward to personally in terms of meeting your old club on the floor this weekend?
It's definitely getting to play against my old coach rather than underneath him. I had a great time with him when I was there, so it's going to be a real experience getting to play against him. We've always got that like relationship with him. I can go talk to him before the game and after the game, and it'll just be cool to see the talent that he's brought through at the moment and how they're getting on. You've got some good lads there. You got Carnu, you got Victor, Giovanni, Greg Wild. So it'll be cool to see how those lads are getting on.
And definitely, I know is a new bunch in some respect, but I know you were saying off air, but Greg Wild's one of your friends. Have you guys sort of been texting each other during the week? What you guys sort of say to each other as you head into this game? Are you sort of trying to
Yeah.
banter each other?
So
Yeah, Karen?
yes, sorry. Yeah. So we live together, and Greg's like a little brother to me. So I'll say to him like, "We'll be having breakfast on one." I'm like, "Oh, do you think you're gonna win this weekend?" And his response is, "Yeah, we've got this, we got this." I'm like, "All right, Greg, I'll see you this weekend. We'll see how it goes." So just those types of things.
Definitely, and for
Yeah.
people watching this game beyond the Basketball England YouTube show, what's pre-season been like? Just obviously, we've had 3 weeks of the Lynch Trophy with you guys either not knowing you're playing or not playing. When did pre-season start for you guys, and what has it been like? So obviously, been distractions with people not being able to be involved.
Yeah. So our season started way back in August. Loughborough have been doing a great job of being able to get us on the floor early and get all the time in that some universities haven't been able to. Um, we've just been building, like I say, but we obviously got hit with COVID. That's why we couldn't play our Lynch games a couple of weeks back. So we're just recovering from that now. I think we're fully back on the floor now. Everyone's back to normal. Um, but it's just been we've just been trying to build on it. Get back in shape. But I mean, pre-season's been phenomenal. I've really enjoyed it, and I know the guys have as well.
And obviously for yourself, you're stepping up in that pathway. Like for a fan like myself, it seems quite enviable one, sorry, from sort of Charmouth to Loughborough to Leicester. What's it been like? What's the biggest change for yourself going from Charmouth Fire Estates to Loughborough? And what's it like being part of the Loughborough team?
Um, I would say the biggest experience difference, sorry, between Charnwood and Loughborough is the physicality for sure. I'm going from the EABL where I was never like the strongest player or anything like that by any means, but I kind of hold my own. But now I've really got to start focusing on being more physical when I am playing at the D1 level. In terms of coming from America, it's like I'm really enjoying Loughborough a lot more than I did in America. Um, so it's really fun for me to be here. Like, I really do appreciate being here. Like, it's a lot of fun being around the guys and stuff.
And you say you're looking forward to facing coach, and obviously you've got a new coach this year, and obviously you had that coach in America. What are some of the factors that the coaches have had on your career? What's some of the advice they've given you in terms of your own development?
Um, from Will's perspective, Will always just told me, play hard, work your hardest, and if you want to achieve something, you're always capable of doing it. That's something he's always instilled in me. And Coach Mark Jarham. Mark's on the similar lines. What Mark's really good at is building up confidence in players, which is what I really like about him. Will was the same. Mark really tries in training to give people an opportunity to succeed, which is what I really do appreciate about him. And yeah, you know, Mark always just tries to give me advice. You know, you can do this, you can do that, and obviously, it helps a lot.
And you know, you mentioned a few names from the Charlton team, and obviously know Greg quite well. What sort of things for people who maybe don't know Charlton? What can we expect from them? Who are sort of like their shooters? Who's going to be the physical threat? What are some of the guys to watch out for this weekend from their perspective? Sorry.
Definitely, not to mention Greg too much, but yeah, Greg's knockdown 3-point shooter. Greg's really skilled ball handler. You know, he's gonna do a bit of everything for them in terms of scoring. Carnu is great on ball defender. He's one to watch out when you're bringing the ball up the floor. You've got to make sure you have a good ball handler, composed one. But Giovanni, he's a big dude. Gio is going to protect the paint. And Victor's quite the same. Victor's a pretty good offensive player as well. He's quite composed for his age. So when you're playing against Victor, you just got to respect them. You know, the Charnwood team is a team that will punish you if you give them an advantage for sure. So we've got to respect them when we play them this weekend.
And obviously, look at your team. What can we, without giving away too much of Mark's secret sauce and the inside stuff, but what can you sort of give us in terms of what to expect from Loughborough this season?
We're going to be fast and we're going to be relentless, to put it simple. You know, that's what we're focusing on. We're just going to try to be quick and we're going to be relentless. We're going to try to run teams to the ground.
And it seems from the outside quite a deep squad. Are there a lot of guys who fill in positions, or do you think as a position maybe there's less depth? Or how do you think the squad looks in terms of depth?
I'd definitely say we have quite a lot of depth. We've got quite a few guys that play like essentially like a Swiss Army knife, to be honest. You know, we've got a few guys that can play multiple positions, do multiple things. So yeah, I'd say like we have guys who can play point guard, shooting guard. You know, Jonas Dietrich's obviously a prime example. That Jonas can play almost every position. You know, Jonas can do almost everything that's asked of him. So you know, we've got quite a lot of guys like that.
Definitely, and I appreciate you. We've not got Cardiff, so there's a bit about Loughborough. In terms of, obviously, you've had a lot of training. What are some of the sort of best moments been from training in terms of maybe like a play or a funny moment? Give some, you know, people who don't know Loughborough that well a bit more of an insight in terms of what's been going on. What's been some of the highlights or great moments from training so far this season?
Definitely, if you don't know who CJ Hansen is, he's quite the joker on the team, but he's great to play with. He's always got the banter going in practice and stuff. CJ's super cool to be around. He's just always making someone laugh, you know, dancing, those types of things. But yeah, like the main joke on our team is definitely CJ, but he's definitely cool to be around. But you know, we've all got a bit of banter as well. But
I think you kind of need that, don't you? You need that sort of team bond. You need to be able to have a laugh and a joke. And also, obviously, you guys have not been on the floor, but have you been watching many of the other games of the Lynch Trophy? If so, what team sort of stood out for you?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's the big one, Solent. You know, we've been watching them. I mean, they've got depth. They play quick. They've got size. You know, Solent's definitely the big one for us. We've been watching a bit of Essex as well. Oakland's. Those guys are looking okay. But yeah, definitely the big one for us is Solent. That's the make or break. That's the one we want. That's the matchup we're looking forward to.
Definitely, and obviously you guys came up together. Is there like an aim or objective for this season for what coach wants to see from you guys in terms of maybe like top 4 playoffs? What's sort of been the talk within the camp of what to expect?
Yeah, for sure. You know, Coach Mark's all about winning, and that's something that we as a team are all about as well. You know, we sat down together, spoke about it, and we've all said like, look, I know we're a young group, we're a new group of guys, but our aim is to win. We want to win as many games as possible, and we obviously want that top 4 finish. So those are the main things for us, is just winning. I know that's what Mark's about. It's just what we want to do.
And I know I've seen you guys be involved in some scrimmages. I think there was a derby game and another game. Were you involved in any of those scrimmages, and what were they like to play in?
Yeah, they were cool to play in. You know, we played the Riders. That was good to play in. Obviously, they're a lot taller, bigger, you know, a lot more physical. So it was good to play a team like that, so we could realise where we were at the time. Again, same with Derby. Is that was almost like kick up the backside to us, made us realise what we need to work on, the types of things we need to get right before we can actually start getting into the meaningful games. So yeah.
No, carry on. Sorry.
No, that's pretty much it.
That's fine. Yeah, so Derby is one of 3 games in the NBL this season. This weekend, sorry. From that game, obviously you can't take too much. But what did they do really well? But as you said, sort of taught you what you guys need to do. Who are the standout guys in your opinion?
They're definitely physical. I'll give them that. The one that sticks out to me a lot was Ash Hugo. He was very physical. But we were told that they didn't have the 2 Americans, I think. So, and they're supposed to be quite physical and big. I think Malcolm Smith's one of them, right?
Yeah.
So we've definitely got to get prepared for that in terms of being tougher, more relentless again. But yeah, it's all on that side for us when we play Derby. I think it's just being tougher. I think we've got the skill. We've got guys that can shoot, dribble, drive. You know.
And you say you talked a bit about the physicality game. Is that sort of guys having to go back in the gym, work harder, and maybe who are the guys who you think to match that physicality the most within your roster currently?
Yeah, definitely. You know, we lift as a team like 4 times a week, and I know the guys do their own stuff as well. But yeah, in terms of the person who I think's obviously raises to the physicality the most is probably Jonas Dietrich and Kyle Jimenez. But you have to remember, like, they're the older guys as well, so they're starting to set a good example for us. Justin Headley's another. He's a first year, but he's one of the older guys. You know, he's played pro before and stuff. So they're just trying to set an example for us, and I think they're doing a decent job of it so far.
And I say Loughborough one of the fortunate sides to have their sort of court on campus, obviously facilities on site. Has COVID really affected you guys at all, or you know, in terms of like being able to access facilities? What are some of the changes maybe you didn't expect to happen but have happened? What's training been like in more depth way?
Yeah, it's definitely had an impact. But again, Loughborough's done a good job of actually being able to keep us on the floor. You know, we have to get our temperature checked every time we get on the floor. We have to wear masks every time we come in, hand sanitizing. Liam Jefferson, the assistant coach, has been great at keeping on top of all that. But in terms of actually training, obviously, when we got hit with COVID, we were out for 2 weeks, which was a big blow. But yeah, one of the big changes I remember was before, obviously, COVID, the guys had access to dead times, which means they could access the court when no one was using it. But obviously, that isn't available to us at the moment because we have like a booking system. So you have to book onto your own sessions, and essentially, if you don't book on, you don't get allowed to be in the session because it's all got to be the track and trace and stuff. So that's definitely a big change, having to book onto your practices before you can actually use the court.
And
but yeah.
of course, yeah, no, I'd appreciate that. I think that's a very organised approach in terms of knowing who's on the court at what time. One observation a lot of people made was when the teams played their first Lynch Trophy game, there was a bit of rustiness. But with you guys playing against Leicester, the Derby scrimmage, do you think actually you guys probably won't have too much rustiness because you've been lucky you had access facilities, but also those scrimmage games too?
No, I think we're pretty much ready to go. You know, obviously there's a few things that we can tune up on, a few minor details, but for the most part, you know, as a team, we are ready. Like, we're around each other every day. You know, we pretty much all live together. We all have good relationships, and we just work on it every day. So I think we're pretty much ready to play.
That sounds good. And I really appreciate you coming on. Obviously, if Kana was here, the mic time would be shared a bit, so I really appreciate you coming on. People watching, cool. I think Loughborough will get up to speed quite quickly because the Lynch Trophy Rearrange Day has been published. I think you guys obviously start with Chandler on Sunday, then Nottingham on the Tuesday the 3rd, and Leicester on Tuesday the 10th. With those games coming thick and fast, what do you guys do in terms of the recovery from having had no basketball to say maybe play up to sort of 6 or 7 games in the space of a few weeks?
We have like we've had quite an intense return to play, so it's been very well looked after. You know, we've had our COVID officers assessing us, messaging us. I was one of the people who had more of a severe COVID symptoms, so I know they've been looking after me. They've been messaging me, telling me this is what you're doing today. You know, you're on the bike for 15 minutes, then you're going to be on the bike for 30 minutes, then you're going to shoot for 30 minutes. You know, they're making sure we're all good and they're following the guidelines and stuff. Um, but yeah, like I said, we've only just got full back squad literally as of a couple of days ago. So yeah, I'd say they're doing a pretty good job of
Definitely, it's
keeping
good.
us all in shape.
I say you look well, and I wish you all the best this weekend. Thanks for coming on. Stay safe, and
All
anyone
right,
who wants to watch the game can watch on Basketball England YouTube page. Okay, take care and stay
appreciate
safe,
it.
Joe. Welcome.
Bye.
Bye. Well, that was awesome. That was our first game previewed. I sort of thought I'd shake up the preview show to sort of keep it with an hour, but also give you a lot of insight. And this is going to be a new segment where each week I have a different player come on to sort of shine a spotlight on their club. Welcome, Barton, Abbey, London Lions, Bearden, Adaidu. Welcome, my guy. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty good, thank you. What about you?
Yeah, other than maybe a possible chest infection, I have to see what it is. I'm doing okay. These shows sort of give me a buzz for the weekend, and unfortunately your game's not on, but you guys had some good games in the bubble, and you'd possibly still qualify if you beat Worthing. What's been some of your thoughts on how you guys have done so far within the L Lynch Trophy?
In terms of how we've done in the trophy, I think things have gone as expected in some manners. Unfortunately, we lost to Solent, but we have a chance to make that up with Worthing. But we set our sights on beating Essex last weekend, and since we're able to do that, our goal is now beating Worthing and qualifying for the next round of the cup.
Definitely, we have to watch this space, see how you guys get on. I don't think the date's been confirmed. With no fans, I think one of my things I took away was how much energy you brought to your team. I loved how anytime you got a stop or your team got points, you were there rallying for your team. So I think you definitely helped your team's cause on the court and also with supporting your guys. How was it to play with no fans, Mo?
Um, Personally, for me, I don't know how it was for the other guys, but before I came to Barking Abbey, I was at a much smaller team, so we didn't have that many fans at our games to begin with. So for me, there was not too much of a change in my eyes, but I could really feel the energy from the rest of the guys. Like if you were on the bench, everyone was trying to boost the energy and make sure that we kept ourselves focused when we needed to, whether the other team were on a run or if we were.
Definitely. I mean, I was sitting there on media cheats, but I could definitely hear you guys celebrating every point, and it was great to hear that energy. Um, what were some of the highlights for you from that game? Because I think you guys played quite well. What were some of the highlights for you?
Um, I'd say one of the highlights was just how many offensive rebounds we were able to get in that game. We didn't we didn't aim to get so many offensive rebounds, but I guess it just happened to be our mentality on that day that we decided to be quite aggressive on the offensive boards, and we ended up, I believe, getting more offensive boards than we did defensive that day.
Yeah, I think you're right there. I think you definitely carried that aggression to sort of win at all costs. I think looking at the size, maybe people might have thought Essex might have had the height advantage, but I think you guys were the energy to sort of get those second chance points. It was a really good, energetic game. Um, I say thank you for coming on. I know your game's supposed to stay this weekend, and I'd love to get a bit more of an insight into Barking Abbey. And for me, watching basketball, one of the things I enjoyed last season before in the NBA was the All Star Week. So I put to you, sort of, if you guys had a competition in house, who would win the dunk contest, and what sort of moves would we see from you guys in the dunk contest?
Um, Obviously we're all still coming back from quarantine, so we're not all at our best. But if there was to be a dunk contest, I think Veron would have it. Yeah. Veron would
Definitely.
probably get us in that one.
And what sort of dunks would we see from him? What's he got in his locker?
He has a pretty casual windmill going on, and at his best, I'm pretty sure he can go between the legs. So we'd see some interesting stuff from Veron.
I think that'd be great to see. And I kind of thought when I saw the Lynch trophy, it'd be great to have that on. But actually, it's all quite protective. Like you guys have to come on at your set time, and the other team comes on a set time. It wouldn't be possible to do it in the same environment. But who do you think is like the most skillful player who would possibly have a chance of winning the skill contest within the team?
I think in the skills contest, it'll probably be Flynn. Flynn, he's quite a big point guard. He can shoot the three really well. His ball handling's great, and he's like a really good passer. Sometimes you don't even know when he's gonna pass to you, and the ball just ends up in your hands, and you just have to somehow focus yourself to finish it, even though you didn't know it was coming.
I totally agree. He was one of the standout performers alongside yourself and for one who really shined in his first two games. What about a 3-point shoot? Who would you put your money on to win it, and who would be the close competitors?
See, a 3-point shootout. See, this one's gonna be a bit tough. Flynn will obviously be up there. Sean Sampson, great shooter. It would definitely be close between those two, and Caleb. Caleb, Caleb is if you catch him on a good day, you don't really expect him to miss. It's just how he is. So yeah, I
Def-
think those three would have a really close one.
the part of it I really enjoy is that players when they pick the money balls, and obviously guys will shoot out from the corner. Where would you think your guys would benefit the money balls most? Would it be sort of in the corner or the top or somewhere in between? Where do you think they shoot the best in terms of 3-point shooting?
Um, with Sean, I'd say Sean, you can put him anywhere. Um, Caleb and Flynn, I'd say you put them at the wing, and they'll hit a lot more of their shots. Those from what I've seen seem to be their hotspots.
Well, as I say, shame we can't see it, but I'd love to see it one day. Obviously, you guys have had to travel quite a bit, having to travel to Solent, and I know you guys travel in a minibus. What's that like? Who controls the music? What sort of music you guys listen to? What's the mood like going to and from Solent Hub?
In terms of who controls the music, Veron and Flynn usually the DJs on the speaker. Those two, it's a lot of old school vibes on the on the way to our games and on the way back. And though on some occasions it's quite quiet. I think that's down to everyone just on the way there being quite focused for the game, and then it's a lot more relaxed on the way back. More music.
And what sort of music do you like to listen to before you go to games? Do you want something like hypes you up, or something that just keeps you mellow? What's your playlist songs on pre-game?
Mine is I'm a hype person. I I'm
I thought you
I like
might
to
be
be
from
hyped
how
up
you
before
are
the
on the
game.
court. So,
Yeah.
what were you listening to before the last game? What sort of songs do you have on the playlist?
What was I listening to last game? I was listening to a bit of Migos before the game. And I listened to a lot of J. Cole before games as well. J. Cole is a big one before a game.
I have to have a list of some songs. I'm not the most musical person, but definitely try to broaden my horizons. So I feel like when you go to a game, the game is part of it, but I feel like if there's some good music on, it gets you in the mood. And
Mm.
obviously, we can't have a fan noise, which is made part of the event. For you personally, when you've been in games, what are some of your games where you've really enjoyed the on court atmosphere, that maybe the fans or the team? What have been some of your favourite moments from the last couple of years where you've been playing basketball?
Um, I'd say one of my favorite moments would have been the ABL finals. Was it the year before in my first year at St. Charles. That environment, it was very motivating from a basketball standpoint, and having a lot of our school friends in the crowd. The bleachers were quite packed that day, and just having a lot of noise and support, it really allowed me to like get locked into that game and just play, just no worries.
Yeah, I think everyone's missing the fans and the noise, the atmosphere. But hopefully, if everything goes to plan, we can start having fans back soon. I'd love to get a bit
Yeah.
more of insight on how training. Is there a player who, when you come into training, you really look forward to compete or dread to compete? Are there players sort of stick out for you in terms of scrimmages and training?
Um, it's always fun to go at Flynn and Veron, because when we get into training, it's always really um if Flynn's on the other team, it's like, cool, how are we dealing with Flynn today? Or if Veron's on the other team, we really, like coach likes to say, we should know our own scout the best. So it's really how we use our basketball IQ to deal with our own teammates. So when you're dealing with teammates that have strengths in certain categories, it's really fun to go at them and see how you can take those certain strengths away.
And in terms of like maybe the last few weeks, have there been traces that went really well for you, or there were some really good plays? Would make sort of the hoop fit highlights if there was a camera there. What are some of the standout moments for you in training the last few weeks, or as a team in general?
Um, that I feel like some of the standout moments would be when the ball really gets moving, and like when we really get into our zone and the ball goes from side to side of the court, like someone drives in, kick, swing, drive. It really looks like some beautiful basketball. Those are some great moments at practice. And you have the odd ankle breaker and poster that happens quite often actually. And that's quite interesting to see, as well as 7'2" Hayden and how easily he blocks some of these shots we take.
Definitely, and imagine also if you're playing games, people get dunked on, or people like you say ankle breakers. Who takes it the best, and maybe who takes it the worst? Who sort of takes it to heart if they're dunked on? Who are some of the sort of characters that come out in those sort of situations?
Um, I feel like when it comes to those sort of plays, all the players on the team do a really good job of just acting like it was a regular play, because like they don't seem to let it change the mood of how they play. They stay composed and stick to the basketball that we plan to play and stick to the game plan. And like it's really good to see that. Like it doesn't become someone trying to dribble the ball at someone just because they dunked on them. It's like we have a game plan to execute and we're gonna stick to it. And a lot of us can dunk. A lot of us will aim to protect the rim when someone else goes to dunk. So we really operate under the mentality of that I'm gonna get dunked on if I go to block someone's dunk, and I'm probably going to dunk on more people than dunk on me. So we just kind of play through it and just push on to what we need to do next.
And how does that weekly training session look? Because from the 2 games I've seen you guys play, you play with high energy up and down the board, try to compete with them. Obviously, that must take quite a lot of fitness work. What does a typical week at Barking look like for the players?
Um, a typical week at Barking is we have our individual practice sessions with Coach Ricky, as well as our team practice sessions, which is a lot of game situation stuff and just running through everything we need to do in a game setting so that we have it ready for the game and it's all mentally locked in.
And what have the coaches been like to play? Obviously, you just mentioned Coach Ricky, and obviously you've got a head coach as well. What are they like as personalities in training, and what sort of advice have they given you personally, maybe as a team as a whole?
Um, I'd say Coach James is very fiery. If you're not doing what you need to do, he's gonna let you know. and I'd say he's really good at motivating the players to do what they need to do. And Coach Ricky is the same. He's really good at just like putting a fire under us and making sure that if you're not doing what you're supposed to do, especially if you have a specific role to play or you're not playing to your own strengths and it's being a detriment to the team, it will, and there's no sugarcoating about it.
And I say you guys would have played, I believe it was Leicester this weekend, but also that's been postponed. Next weekend, I believe you're playing Hemel. Hopefully that goes ahead. Have you guys watched Hemel much? What are you expecting from that game?
We have been focusing so far on getting our plays right and just making sure our defense is tight. We haven't focused a bit too much on Hemel yet, but that looks to be a focus we're going to have in the coming weeks.
And also just around the league, obviously you guys won't be able to play, but you'll get a good idea of what the other teams are like in terms of the three fixtures playing. Are there teams outside of Solent, but you're sort of watching on and looking at saying, I'm interested to see how we get on against them, or are you guys more locked in on what you guys are focusing on?
I believe we're not really focusing on any one team. We're more locked in on what we have to do on a week-to-week basis to get there and improve our performances between each game. So we really take it week by week and figure out what team we've got to play next, what their strengths are, their weaknesses, and we work to see what we can do to make things difficult for them instead of like preparing for a team that's long in advance.
I think that's the right approach to say to control what you guys do, and it's nice to see that coach say that you guys got to be the best scouts yourself. It raised your IQ. I definitely appreciate that. For myself, as someone who's watched the league a few years, I think it's quite a competitive league. Have you set up maybe like an objective where you'd like to finish, or is it one game at a time approach?
We're really taking a one game at a time approach because when we go into a game, we really believe we can win every single one of these games. So we're just making sure we take it one game at a time and really aiming to push ourselves in that one, almost as if the other games aren't there. We focus on them one a week.
And obviously, coming after us is after yourself. Sorry, is Solent and Essex. And I just thought, as you played them, what do you feel like if you were to say your Hughes on Solent and Essex? What would the other team expect from, say, Essex expect from Solent, and Solent expect from Essex for the game that's about to be previewed after we had our chat?
I'd say Essex would have to watch out a lot for Ian Smith. He really runs the show for Solent and can be very dangerous if left alone. Andre as well. Andre is a big player for Solent and he can really do a lot of damage if you don't keep an eye on him. And mainly a lot is to do with the bigs at Solent. All of those bigs are a huge threat, especially if they figure out that they've got a guard on them. They'll look to exploit it a lot. And for Essex, I'd say Solent need to keep an eye on their 3-point shooters because Essex are a really strong 3-point shooting team and they shoot a high volume of them as well. So if you get caught falling asleep, you might find yourself in a deficit.
And I think even though you got the loss to Solent, you did a good work defensively against them, the same with Essex. And Solent, sometimes it can be quite the pick and roll with Ian and Travis, or Ian and Orland, or Andre and Orland. How would you advise Essex to sort of defend against that pick and roll? What do you think would work well for them?
Obviously, I wouldn't suggest using our pick and roll defense, but I'd say that just to make sure when you're in the pick and roll to be very aware of the rollers because Solent have some very strong rollers, and if they get that deep into the paint, they're going to cause some serious trouble. It's going to be a foul, or they're going to have a score for definite, especially with the Solent bigs being quite strong. But you also can't take too much of your attention off of the guards because the guards can shoot and they will look to pull it if you leave them too open off those pick and rolls.
Definitely. I mean, unless it's got a potent mix himself with quite a few shooters. So what advice would you give Solent to sort of how to sort of limit that 3-point threat that Essex will bring this weekend?
I'd say just identify what who the shooters are and whether the shooters can drive, because a lot of the times I think a few of the Essex guards, they're pretty good shooters, but when forced to make a decision they may not be the best. So just being able to keep an eye on the shooters, force their better shooters to drive the ball, and send anyone who can't shoot to like just force them to take a shot, force them to take the shots they're not comfortable with.
I think that's a really good advice. You obviously seem to be coached very well and sort of understand the game. Obviously, before we finish the Barking, I'd love to get your take. Because obviously, Barking Abbey this year, B8 London Lions, and once that partnership's up and running, I understand, but that means that Barking players may have the opportunity to play with London Lions guys. And I know it's in its formative process, but have you noticed any of the impact of being BA London Lions, or is it still just a work in progress at this time?
Um, I believe it's still just a work in progress. The players themselves, we haven't seen any too much of a difference to our lives as a whole. But I'm sure there'll be a lot more to come down the line. There is a lot to do with the name though, because people are starting to recognize and ask me like London Lions. So I feel like the name is making a bigger impact so far.
I can agree with that. I think it's interesting like that. I always think like Rome wasn't built in a day, but I think actually for British basketball, it'd be good for Barking to have that pathway to the BBL, much like how in Loughborough you got Chalmers, Loughborough, and Leicester. Thank you for coming on. It's a shame you guys can't play this weekend. I've really enjoyed your first 2 games. Thanks for coming on. Stay safe and all the best for next weekend.
Thank you. Same to you.
So next on, we've got Ian Smith, Solar Kestrels, and Jordan Gray from Essex Rebels. Evening, guys. You both looking well. How are you?
What's up,
All
Chris? You
good, all
good?
good.
Yeah, not too bad. I've a bit under the weather. I'm hoping it's not COVID. I've not got any symptoms. I think it's just a chest infection, but getting my swab test tomorrow. But I think a bit of rest and talking basketball is just the medicine I need. So I thought I'd start with Ian. Obviously, you guys got to play Essex Rebels again for the second time. What do you think we'll see from Solent that might be different to last time, if any difference?
Man, not too much. Not too much should be different. Obviously, we've had a game with them, so we've had a film session that we are able to recap and watch what we did right, watch what we did wrong, and just kind of pinpoint certain areas that we need to progress on. But yeah, man, you guys been seeing us play, so we don't look to do too much different. So we just gonna stick to the same game plan that we always have, and hope for a good outcome.
I know I seen you guys sort of prepare because I sit with the media pass, see across, and I noticed you got a few gamers
Hmm
in the group. Who's sort of the best at the Call of Duty like game? I see you guys use it for that before you start
Man,
your lecture.
man, let them tell it. Everybody the best, right? But I don't know. They play Warzone. I don't play that. I don't really play that. I'm more 2K. I hop on a little Fortnite here and there, you know what I'm saying? But I don't really know. I'll give it to uh Orlan. John try to man, John think he the best at everything. He always getting beat though, but he get his wins in. But so either Orlan or John.
I say Jordan, say just obviously the Solent Bubbles been where the games he hosted, and you can see across they got this little lecture theatre. They got like massive, I think it's 70-inch TV, which Coach Diamond likes to run the scout on. But the guys have been getting early play a few games. Do you guys sort of have a gaming community with your team? Do you like play 2K or what sort of things do you guys do when you're not playing basketball?
Yeah, there's a couple gamers on the team. Like I live with Tom, and Tom's always playing FIFA and stuff. Yeah, me, I can't lie, I'm not the best gamer out there. So yeah, I don't know. I'm just more time. I'm just listening to music,
like mixing music, making playlists and stuff like that. But yeah,
I say I tried a bit of a 2K, but I'm not too good. I stick to just talking about basketball. I'll let you guys do the playing, Damien. Jordan, obviously it was a baptism of fire. She like played so the first time, and a slightly closer game versus Barking. In terms of what can we see now, you guys had time together. What do you think we'll see differently from Essex Rebels this weekend?
we finally got into a routine of practice. Like we've had kind of a rough start because this whole COVID thing. We haven't had consistent training sessions. So now that we've got like these new guys as well, and they're kind of getting more in tune with the plays and whatnot, I feel like we just see a more together team. Like we haven't played our best basketball, but that's the whole point of that preseason tournament, so that we can get in check.
For sure, and I know Essex, they've had a few players join last weekend, and then obviously some players still not playing. Obviously, I'm sure coaches want you giving away your whole team sheet, but do you feel like you're getting the players back on the court, or do you feel still need a few more games to get everyone back on the court?
Nah, it's looking all right now. It's looking good. Like we had a good practice session yesterday. We're just doing everything that we need to do. So let's trust the process, and when we come to the game, just do what we do.
And the same for you, Ian, because obviously Keshel's got them in versus Worthing, but they had to do that without Brendan, Chris, and Luke. How did those injuries happen, or what was the reason why those guys could be there if it wasn't injury?
Yeah, Brendan, he rolled his ankle, I believe in that game from Essex, and he's just been rehabbing, doing that whole bit. Chris, he had work, and Luke, yeah, he rolled his ankle in practice um, last week, but he's been getting back to the gym. He's still in the gym every day, rehabbing and doing all that, getting shots up with us and everything like that. So Luke's back in the gym. Brandon he's been full go practice with us. Chris has been in the gym practicing with us. So them two will be back for sure. Luke I think he'll be a game time decision. He's moving great. He's moving well. Like if he's not back this week, he'll be back the week after for sure. So everybody's been taking the steps necessary to get back to the floor.
Yeah, so I didn't want to presume anyone was injured from people we didn't see. So I know at this level, guys got work. I know Essex Lee Hodges has been worked, but he hasn't been there. Hopefully, we see him on court soon. And I know Chris works hard during this process. We've got a slight echo on. If anyone's got us on secondary, that might be a reason. But otherwise, the order's not too bad. And also, you've talked a bit about the players not playing. So you guys have pretty much been, after you finished, I know you guys have played all three for Lynch Trophy games. From the games versus Barking or Worthing, or even around the league, who have been some of the standout players for you? I'll start with you, Jordan.
Our first game we played against Worthing, and Cam had a good game. He went off in that game. Yeah, against Solent. Obviously, Ian had a good game. I think Orlan had a good game as well. So it's like kind of the people that were expected to go off. We knew that they were going to play well. So, yeah.
I think there's been a lot of good performances in this bubble. It's been great to sort of see how you guys. I mean, week one we saw a lot of teams rusty, but then after that, everyone seemed to be playing how they should be. So it should be a really good weekend. Did you watch any of the other games, Jordan, from outside the hub, like the games at Oaklands or the other ones, for example?
Yeah, I saw who was playing Hemel versus Thames Valley. I watched that game. That was a good game as well. I've watched some of the ones from the Solent games. I've watched some of the Barking games. I watched Worthing and Solent the other day as well. So yeah, I've got a kind of good understanding of what's happening around the league.
Yeah, for those games, I think they're all quite good games. Hemel TBC, while Lewis Champion with that Dame Lilliard sort of shot to win the game. Ian,
Yeah.
for you, who are some of the standout players from the Lynch Trophy so far for you?
Um, Honestly, I haven't been watching too many of the other games. I will obviously say my teammates. We have some new teammates coming in, so everybody on our roster has surprised me, and it's been fun to watch the progress of our team grow from us just being together for the short time that we have. So I've been impressed with every new person that's been on our team and the returners. But from other teams, I've Scylla, he a problem. Scylla's nice. I like Scylla. Uh, who else? Mike Williams, he a bucket. Greg looked pretty decent too. He looked like he added a few new things to his game from last year. So that Hemel team is fun to watch, and Scylla. Other than that kid from Barking, I'm a fan of they're big. It might have been the one that was on with you right before this.
Flynn, yep.
I was in
Oh
yeah I
no,
was no not
yeah.
Flynn.
Bearden.
They're
Bearden,
big.
yep.
Yeah,
Yeah, he was
yeah,
good.
yeah. I'm really impressed with the way that he just goes at guys. Like he shows no fear, and I love that about him. He's not the biggest dude, but his effort on both ends of the floor is very impressive. So for a young guy to perform the way that he did against us, at least, and even other teams, I just like the way that he played a lot. So those are a few guys that have just caught my eye.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a very competitive season this year with a lot of talent across the board. Obviously, this weekend we've got first up at 5:45, Oaklands versus Hood. So we have to see how Oaklands get on without Evan Walsh. And you guys on at 6:30. I believe that's streamed on the Zone at 1. And last but not least, we've got Derby versus Worthing. And I thought, because we haven't got anyone from Derby or Worthing previewing it, and obviously both played Worthing. Ian, I'll start with you. What did Derby expect from Worthing this weekend, having played them and maybe seen their other games too?
Um, I think they should expect shots going up from pretty much at any time, from especially from Cam. Zaire has obviously proven himself that he can put the ball in the hole. So shots from them too. I think that Max Richards or Max, I don't know his last name really, but he had a I've seen his game. He's pretty solid. Um, but yeah, just what I think they should expect is a lot of shots going up. To put pressure on them and early right away, but just a lot of shots, especially from Cam going up. So just trying to contain their scoring power, really.
Anything you'd add to that, Jordan? Anything that maybe Derby should be watching out for if they weren't aware of already?
He pretty much said it all. Like Cam's gonna put them up, Zaire's gonna put them up. So just try and mess up their rhythm, and yeah, just exploit on defense as well.
And obviously, Jordan's going to be his second time coming to Solent for the game, obviously playing them in the Lynch Trophy. I know you guys all travel together in the minibus. What's that like going down? What's the vibe? Who sort of controls the music? What do everyone get on to before the big game?
Ginger's got the music. He just got like a radio station. He just plays that. That journey is long from where we are as well. That's like 3.5 hours. So more time. Some of us will like sleep for half of the journey. Then we'll just be, what I'm saying, just messing about, doing whatever, even watching some tape before we get there. But yeah, man, that's a long journey, man. For real, it's hard in that minibus.
Yeah, I totally feel it. I think when I went to watch the game at Essex from Solent, yeah, it's definitely a long journey, and you got to do both journeys one day. In terms of the team, like we sort of said, but you've had players missing. Who would you say sort of really impressed you on your team so far? So these are really good performances. Who obviously you won't be able to mention everyone, but who are some of the guys on your team that have caught your eye early on?
Definitely Rory. Rory came out first game. He was shooting crazy. I think he got like 7, 8 threes, something like that. So yeah, he's been putting them up. Sam had a good game. Our last game. Everybody's just kind of, what I'm saying, we're getting back into our stride. So I think there's more to come right now. Just finding our feet again.
And what's your coach like to play with? I remember I was watching the game last time. He was quite a loud coach in terms of like trying his message across. What's he like to play under as a player, as a coach? Sorry.
Ginger's a good coach. Very passionate. Gets his voice. He gets his message across well as well. He puts a battery in our back as well. He doesn't really limit us. He lets us shoot. You know what I'm saying? Do what we do in practice. So yeah, it's a good experience.
And Ian, I know you guys have made it really hard for me when I've been picking my team of the week. Are there performances you feel maybe haven't been spoken about as much in terms of maybe the individuals on the team? What's some of the performances that stuck out for you from your guys this last 2 weeks?
From the guys on our team,
Yeah.
man, like I told you, everybody, man, we got a squad full of killers. So I'm impressed with everybody. And like I said, every week, guys are getting more comfortable in our system and figuring out how we play, especially the new guys. So there's gonna be guys literally after each week that somebody like you or another media is gonna be talking about, like, wow, this guy really stepped up. This guy really stepped up. I mean, we had injuries or whatever, and Andre came into the lineup and went crazy. But he's capable of doing that off the bench with 20 minutes, 30, 40 minutes. Like, he's serious. Luke Gosney is serious. Like, we in the gym every day. There's guy Orland. You guys obviously know about him and things like that from just his legacy being in the UK. So I'm telling you, our young buck, Elias, he's serious. We got guys at each spot that are ready to just step up and show out day in and day out. So it's not just one person that has stood out to me, honestly. It's all of us coming together literally each week, getting better and gelling as a team better. So I think all of us are going to make some noise this year.
And Jordan, I know you say you guys are gelling, you find this chemistry. And obviously, to be your season in the NBL D1, and maybe a lot of guys maybe not know about you guys unless they've seen the games. But I'd love to get a bit more insight in training. Who are some of the guys you love coming up against in training? Who are the real competitors within that team in the gym when you're training, if either in the weights room or in the scrimmages in training? Who are the guys you love competing with?
If I'm honest, I like competing against everybody. But if I had to pick someone, I would say Tom. Because like me and Tom, we came to Essex at the same time. We're like around the same age and we live together as well. So it's like always competitive, trying to get one up on each other. But yeah, man, everybody's competitive at practice. I can't really just say anybody's not somebody I want to go against. So yeah, it's a good environment.
And obviously, you've played 3 games already. You've probably got a little bit of a taste of what D1's like. How does NBL D1 compare to NBL D2 from your time last season?
I'd say it's just a faster pace. Like teams will try and speed you up. For example, all the teams that we pressuring try to get you to like not run a good offense or whatnot. So the only real difference, I say, guys are a bit bigger and it's faster game. So yeah.
And I appreciate you both coming on the Friday night, especially ahead of a big game this weekend, and fans will be able to watch it online. Ian, obviously the Kestrel's family can't be there in person, but is there a message you'd like to give to the fans who would normally be watching but have to make do with watching it online?
Yeah, just keep supporting. We're going to do our best to put on the best show possible. And yeah, we see the support. A lot of people just out and about in the city. We see them at restaurants or at the grocery store or something like that. They'll reach out and say, so we know you guys are watching. Keep watching. Tell everybody else to watch. And we just going to keep on trying to put on a show for y'all.
And I think, John, it's fair to say, D2, you guys were put on a show off the court as with the game day experience. What was it like playing in front of fans last season? What are some things you're going to miss? Because I think as a production level, it was really good production level for D2 club.
Yeah, we used to get quite a few fans to the games, even on the Wednesdays as well. It was making like a good experience, kind of energizes you a bit more. I'm not saying that having no fans makes you play with no energy, but you know, it's kind of that more game day experience. So it's going to be a bit weird adapting to that, but it will be all good.
Definitely, I think it's just going to take time. Hopefully, after Christmas, maybe we have fans back in. So I'm sure that's what we want to all see, but done in a safe way. Again, thanks for coming on air. Stay safe, both of you, and good luck for this weekend.
All right, thank you.
Appreciate you.
Appreciate
Hey, get well, Chris, man. Get well, man.
Cheers, I will. Thank you.
it.